This is Blair Kerkhoff with the Kansas City Star, and we're joined today by Missouri football coach Gary Pinkel, who's making the rounds in Kansas City at various stops, radio stations, newspapers. We're glad to have you. Thanks, Gary, for being here.
Great to be here.
I guess 2-0, great start for the team. What have you liked? What have you not liked so far?
Well, first of all, I like being 2-0, number one, but I think there's always things that you need to do, obviously, to get better, and that's kind of rallying cry a little bit with our football team right now. You know, we're fairly healthy, and if we want to accomplish our goals, we've got to get better. And the best teams I've ever coached are the ones that do get better each and every week. And so you don't go out just to practice, you don't go out just to get the game plan down. You go out to become a better football player and playing together as units, as an offense, defense, and kicking. And we're going to work real hard to get that done. This week's our bye week, so we're going to get some rest here, work on our next game, get some academics, jump on that too, and it'll be a good week for us.
Interesting next game. Yes. At Indiana in 2 weeks, Big Ten team. Put some points on the board here in their first 2 games. What do you know about the Hoosiers?
Well, they're pretty good. My staff has been in the last 2 days just working on game plans with them, and I've been out. I do know that their offense is exceptional by just the scores of those games. I also know that they're a well-coached football team, and it's going to be a big game for us. It's a Big Ten game. It's going to be at Indiana, and we're excited about playing it.
James Franklin's off to a good start statistically, and the thing that impressed me and a lot of people in the Toledo game was the way he put his shoulder down and went into that linebacker. I don't know if that excited you as much as it did the fans, but let's talk a little bit about James Franklin's season so far.
Well, here's this guy that's a sophomore, and a couple years ago, he's MVP in the bowl game. He had as good a sophomore year as Chase Daniel had, Blaine Gabbert had, and now we expect a great year. And I defend him all the time in terms of, he had more injuries in 1 year last year than the 22 previous years as a head coach combined at quarterback. But you know what? It made him a little tougher, a little bit more resilient. I think he his desire to be a great player and help his team win is at the highest level since he's been playing here. And I think people can see it. He's a very, very talented player. I don't like him running into linebackers. I don't like him doing that at all. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line. I get that's okay, but he's got to be responsible so that he stays healthy. And in fact, he would never do anything to hurt the team. I think he gets in the moment out there, and he's just a big, tough guy. But I don't like it quite like our fans do.
Defensively, Toledo got some yards. It's kind of a tough team, I think, to scheme for. But what have you liked about the defense?
Well, I think we do a lot of good things on defense and feel real good about our defense. Except we're just giving up too many big plays. And you give up 4 or 5 big plays a game. Big plays for us are plus 15-yard run, plus 20-yard pass. And that really keeps drives alive and puts people in scoring position in terms of field position. So I think if there's one thing we need to do, we're pretty good against the run right now, but I think overall just the big plays are the things that we have to eliminate, and you're not going to eliminate them, but at least reduce them, and we're going to work real hard to do that.
Second year in the SEC. You've had to adjust recruiting, the recruiting geography a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about how that's gone, the adjustments that you've had to make in recruiting in a new conference.
Well, we were really, obviously, the state of Missouri is the most important place we recruit, number one. But Texas was real important to us in terms of players and number of players as another source. And being the SEC, even though Texas A&M is there, Arkansas is right next to the state of Texas, we still we wanted to get in the SEC markets more and get into Georgia, South Georgia, into Florida. And so there's a transition. So we've pulled a couple guys out of Texas and slid them in those areas. It'll take some time, like it did in Texas. But over the years, we've signed so many great players out of the state of Texas. We hope to be doing the same thing in Georgia and Florida as time goes on.
You told me in SEC Media Days, I asked you about coming into the season. Did you feel any differently than coming into previous seasons? And you referred to advice that Coach James gave you at Washington about not looking back, and I thought that was really interesting. How a lot of people think, pressure's on, Missouri's got to win this year, but that's no different than any other year, is it?
No, it's not any different than any other year. I focus on my job, and that's what Coach James pretty much told me when I'm going to become a head coach. I'm going to fly into Toledo for the the press conference and excited about it. And the advice he gave me is he said when things get tough, and he says every year they're going to get tough. You focus on doing your job, and that's probably. And when I walked out, I thought, wow, that's I expected something more profound from Don James, but as I learned real fast, you focus on doing your job. That's all. I've done that, and and you're going to have your seasons. You're going to have your games. You're going to have when things get really intense and there's a lot of pressure on. But that's why you stay focused on what you do, and I've got really good at that. And I need to do my job for my team so we can play our best, and it's pretty easy for me to do that.
We're in Kansas City, not too far from a state line. What are your thoughts on perhaps one day continuing the border war football game that drew so well at Arrowhead for the 5 years it was there?
Well, first of all, Kansas City did a great job putting that thing on, and it was a great environment. I don't see why we can't get together again with Kansas. A great rivalry that we've had, very historic. Why we can't get together again, and maybe in the first week or two every year playing it back in Arrowhead here. I think it'd be great, for both universities. I think financially it'd be great for Kansas City, the city, so hopefully someday we can kind of move on and move forward in a positive way. That'll be good for our fans and everybody.
Gary, thank you very much for spending some time with us. Hey, I'm Blair Kerkhoff of the Kansas City Star.